Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it's story time with Mickey on another edition of Mick Shots.
You guys
here
are not ready.
inside
Y'all
the
are not
SWBC
ready. You are not
podcast
prepared.
studio.
I'm so disappointed.
Well, what are you doing with all those
I'm
papers?
getting prepared, man. This is
We're already starting.
So I've got a green notebook. Mickey's got his legal pad, and he's got all sorts of other
Practice
stuff over
report.
there. And so, Everson's got pieces of paper next to him over there, and no, they have nothing to do with the New Orleans Saints or the Dallas Cowboys. They are what? They're his reads.
just reads. I want to make
His
sure
commercials.
I got it right.
He's a marketing intern.
I want to make sure Chris has trust in me. I want to make sure he can trust me.
He's spending his time
go.
proofreading and
right.
putting periods where they belong in the copy and so forth.
There you go.
And in the meantime, we have football players arriving on a football field here at the Star in Frisco.
And helmets and pads, too.
Helmets and
How
pads
about
once again. How many helmets and pads practices do they have? It's like 17 or so. It's like
I don't think
one per week.
we don't get them.
One per week?
No, but they use
used to
them
be.
early, and maybe there's a certain point in the season, like the last few weeks of the season, you only have you have to use them up
can't
before
save
a
'em
certain
up.
date.
So how many do you have overall?
I don't remember
the
what the
number
name
in
is.
my mind was 13. I don't know.
So that makes sense then.
For the whole
13.
season?
Yes.
Yeah, 13 padded practices.
That's funny.
And we already used one last week.
And I think you're limited to one a week.
okay.
Boy, with that kind of schedule, I'd be in shape all year long. God,
13.
I'd be like, my body's like, man, I haven't done anything.
You sound like
Season's over.
Daryl Johnston would always tell me, he goes, the worst shape I was ever in is at the end of training camp.
In Austin.
In
Yeah.
Austin, yeah. So, but yeah, they don't want to work them too hard.
Jeez.
Yep.
And I think if you make the playoffs, you get an extra one a week.
Wow.
One a week?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
You're welcome.
yep. So here we are with a practice report in front of Mickey's microphone right there that he's looking at it, and the two concerns this week on the practice
That's
report,
exactly right. Jake Ferguson and Marshawn Nealon both were expected to start the practice today with the rehab guys. And then he said they would see if they can get into anything towards the end of practice. But I think when everybody goes out there and within 5 minutes or so to watch practice, they'll see that Jake Ferguson was just in jersey and shorts.
You're predicting that?
Yes, I'm predicting it.
Okay.
And
You didn't sneak a peek out there on your way down the
well,
hallway?
they're going to see it eventually, right? And that Nealon was in helmet and pads, so that's
So
encouraging.
you're telling me there's a chance on
There's a
Nealon,
chance,
then.
and Ferguson hasn't given up on himself.
Uh-huh.
He talked about yesterday. It's like the pain with the bone bruise. It sounded like he could manage that. The deal is the MCL sprain, which is a low-grade sprain. But he said, if I can go, I'll go. But if I can't play to my standard, then there's no sense going out there and putting the team in jeopardy.
If you listen to the internet doctors out there, the ones on social media,
Oh, yeah?
they say there's no chance with a bone bruise.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah.
And so they diagnosed him from
That's
afar.
right. Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
Tell them thank you for that.
Absolutely amazing.
Appreciate their help.
I think there's some hope, but as I just got done saying on my radio spot there, hope doesn't heal.
I like that.
So-
Hope doesn't heal.
So we'll
You were
see
very
where,
poetic there,
yeah,
Spags. I
we'll
like
see
that.
where that one goes. And then the other guy that didn't practice yesterday, still John Stevens with the hamstring. Although he was doing some running yesterday, not just, and both of the guys that I just got done, well, all three of them, when they work on the chords, they were moving well. But it's straight line stuff.
Of course.
Either straight ahead or sideways, right?
Oh, very deliberate moves.
Yeah, and it's premeditated steps, right? So at some point you got to find out, can you play football? So I think that's to be determined at this point. And they won't determine it till Saturday because that's really their last practice. So they'll give an injury report after that.
And so on the tight end depth chart,
yes,
then you have Luke Schoonmaker, the second-round pick from last year, and Brevin Spann-Ford, college free agent this year.
And then after that...
Oh, you said his name correctly.
Mickey's the one that's been
I've been saying it wrong.
Oh.
I finally listened to it, and it is Spann.
Okay.
Yeah. Or at least somebody that was doing a TV spot on him.
How do you know they have it right? It's a TV guy.
It was a in-house University of Minnesota.
And so since he was there for 6 years, you would think
I
that
would
they
think
have it
at some
right
point,
by now.
by
that, Spann.
osmosis, they got it right.
You didn't come to Bill. You came to the source. I like that.
So he would be second. And
Although
then,
you never know. I mean, like the Ryan Flanoy.
Yeah.
It's Flournoy, and the media guide, it says Flanoy. I've never had an opportunity to actually ask him. I had to go with what the media guide said, basically.
the media guy says Flonoy.
Yeah, F-L-A with the accent on the Noy.
Flanoy.
All right, so there's a Texas Rangers pitcher making a start tonight, his first major league start
I
in
heard about
Seattle.
that,
His last name is Rocker.
Yeah.
His first name is spelled Kumar. So how would you pronounce that?
Well, I
name?
know how I would pronounce it, but I hear it's not.
Kumar Rocker, right?
Kumar.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, we get an email from the Rangers this week saying, in anticipation of Rocker's first major league start, we'll let you know that the correct pronunciation of his first name is Kamar.
Kamar.
That sounds okay.
Kamar, not Kumar.
Not Kumar. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
That's like
so you just never know.
it's like Spann. Is it?
Everyone's been
is it
calling
a straight
him-
line over the A or the little U?
But everyone's been, like in the case of Brevin Spann-Ford, even
Right.
though people call him that may not be right, until we talk to the person himself.
Yeah.
I did not know we were going down this rabbit hole. Continue, Spann. Please.
And then there was the Texas Rangers pitcher named Esteban Loaiza, okay? And so we got word, when I was doing Ranger games, we got word that Esteban Loaiza wanted his name pronounced Esteban Loaiza.
Okay.
So we start calling him Esteban Loaiza. And then the next game, he does like a public service announcement and identifies himself as Esteban Loaiza. All right, now carry on.
Oh, and so if Ferguson can't go, I think they have a couple things they can do, and if Stevens is still unable to play, you can call Princeton Fant off the practice squad, but he's more of a blocking guy if you needed three tight ends on the field at the same time. And then the other thing I think we talked about yesterday is Hunter Lepke. You could give the fullback some more snaps in different areas to make up for maybe one of the tight ends not a guy that's going to go down the seam and catch a pass 20 yards downfield, but you could do
Princeton
some
Fant's
different
not
things.
that guy either.
Yeah,
He's a converted fullback
exactly.
from college.
So, you just got to adapt. You just do different things to make sure that you compensate if Ferguson's not out there.
Well,
and let's remember, he was second on the team last year with 71 catches.
And it tells you a lot how the Cowboys feel about their tight end room when there was a receiving tight end that they traded at the end of camp, end of the preseason, to the Kansas City Chiefs, Peyton Hendershot.
Right.
So they clearly like these other tight ends. And so now they probably sooner than they wanted to see it, they're going to get their opportunity.
Yeah, and if you can get Stevens out there, then I think they'd feel much better about the receiving part of the tight end group. So we'll see.
But that is
what
a guy
he's able
that
to
is a
do.
guy who hadn't played in an NFL game before.
Yeah,
So
yeah. At least yesterday he was doing more than just the chords. So that was encouraging that maybe it's coming along.
All right, so now how about the defensive line and with Marshawn Nealand? And the other thing to consider this week is you get Al-Quadin Muhammad back from his suspension. He had a 1-game suspension he served, so I assume he's in the mix coming off the suspension list. And then you also have a guy like Carl Lawson who's on the practice squad. And so if Marshawn Nealand can't go, what do you think the options are, Mickey?
I needed to check one thing on the
Al-Quadin Muhammad?
Muhammad, because I was thinking maybe I missed it. They released him.
They did release him.
At the end of training camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So he's not a choice.
Well,
Tyrus Wheat is one of the defensive end that's on the 53. You can use Chauncey Golston out there, although both of those guys played a lot of snaps on the nickel inside as pass rushers. Nealand played a bunch inside. So it's not just a true defensive end. And then, you're right, on the practice squad, if Lawson was ready, I don't know if he is or not, because remember, he just got there at the end of training camp.
He played in a preseason game.
He played the last preseason game, I believe. You're right. I'm
trying to remember. He may have got into the Vegas game too, but I know he played in the last.
Well, at one point, remember they brought him in, then they let him go, so he didn't really practice.
Well, they let him go
before
on the final cut,
right?
On the final, and then they brought him back on the practice squad. Yeah, which wasn't unusual, and especially considering the fact he also factors into that veteran player that you don't want to guarantee his contract the first week of the season.
He had to sit out at
and
least
that's
one
gone
game.
on around the league. You're seeing a lot of veteran guys getting signed to the regular roster this week across the league because they don't want to guarantee the contracts the first week.
So, but you only can elevate 2 guys, right? And they elevated Vigil last week,
right?
Which was a good move because when Kendrick's either dehydration or cramps, he came in and played a couple series before Kendrick.
I think he had
back on the
like
field.
25 snaps in the game. On defense,
and he was
with 25.
He was on their
teams.
special teams too, by the way.
That's a lot of work.
Then you would have to decide: do I need to elevate a tight end if Stevens can't go, or do I need to elevate a defensive end if Nealand can't go, or you just play Parsons more at defensive end, although they played him all over the field, and I loved it, and I think he did too. He seems to be falling in love with Mike Zimmer, by the way, if you listen to his press conference.
I knew they were going to get along very well.
Right?
Yes.
And you know what it is when people talk about guys, they're not coachable or anything. Players want somebody to help them be better.
That's right.
And once they realize that, doesn't matter what they're telling them to do, they'll listen, right?
Well, and the other thing on it, like in the case of Eric Kendricks, there was something that came out that Kendricks said something about Zimmer's hard coaching style, and people take that out of context and think that Eric Kendricks would never want to play for Mike Zimmer again. It was, he was miserable there or whatever. It wasn't true at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And he winds up playing here, and he's the quarterback of his defense, whatever. And so it takes
yes.
Yeah. When you take, someone says something that, trying to be open and candid about a situation, and then people take it who don't know anything about it and run with it and say, he must not like. They assume he must not like playing for that coach. No, he was just describing a situation.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he doesn't like playing for him at all.
So
people thought that Parsons wouldn't want to be coached hard like Zimmer. His reputation.
You just knew they were going to come with the same mindset. I could never see them not getting along.
Plus, he talked about how he said that Mike is kind of giving him the opportunity when he's on the field, depending on whatever defensive call they have, to maybe adjust it to what he sees or where he sees a weakness on his own without being told, okay, you can do this.
He's always been that person that says, I want to get better than where I am right now.
Right. And then Zimmer, he gets around Micah, and they meet every morning, and he figures out how sharp Micah is and how football savvy he is, and there's a trust that develops that you can make that call. You can do, if you see that, then do it.
I think what's more important is that he and Kendrick get along.
Yeah,
not just get along, but understand
right
how they can both impact the hell out of this defense. Kendrick's doing his thing. He knows that Parsons is going to be over there doing his thing. If they know where each other are at all times, man, they can play off each other so well.
And that doesn't mean if he's at linebacker or defensive end, just playing off of what each guy's doing.
Knowing where he could be on any particular play.
And one of the interesting things for this game, I guess I didn't realize it. I had just looked at, the Saints scored 47 points, and Carr did this, and Kamara did this. They ran for 180 yards. That had to be number one in the league, right? Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a good test for this team to see if they are on their way to fixing the run defense.
This is going to be an ongoing thing, Spags.
Right.
This is going to be all year long, at least until, let's say, Thanksgiving, to where we realize what kind of run defense do we really have. It's not gonna be a fix-all. We know that Cleveland didn't.
Right.
That wasn't our, best game. It won't be our best game, and this will be probably one of the worst offensive lines we've gone up against when we went up against Cleveland.
Right.
So now you have to realize that this is a more established group, and they're going to come in here hoping to do just what they plan to do all season long, and that's run the ball, play good defense, and just make sure Carr doesn't have to make too many amazing plays because sometimes he can play outside himself.
Across the league, typically the turnover there is from year to year for teams is within, it may be up to 33% of your roster turns over every year. It's for sure 25 to 30% of your roster. When you look at the Saints, they have kept virtually everybody from last year. And there's one, basically they have 10 of their 11 starters on offense and 10 of their 11 starters on defense are back this year. And they finished the season so strong last year. They won 4 out of their last 5 games. And the coaching staff is intact as far as defense is concerned. They bring in Clint Kubiak as their offensive coordinator. It's his first year. But that continuity that the Saints have, I think, is telling in why there was a mismatch in game 1 when you're taking on a Carolina team with a brand new head coach who did not play his young quarterback in the preseason, and Bryce Young, and so they were totally out of sorts. Carolina was, and so now this is going to be a real test for New Orleans this week.
I think both teams, when you're analyzing them, you got to throw out the first game. Throw out Carolina. Who knows what they are or not? And really, the Cleveland thing, who knows, right? You were playing a quarterback that had played 12 games over the last, 3 years?
With backup tackles.
Right. Now, they've got, speaking of injuries, their rookie starting left tackle was limited in practice with a back.
You're not going to say his name?
Talise?
You can tell when he does. He doesn't quite have a
he knew
handle
it was
on
a setup, right?
Last name's Fuaga.
I got the Fuaga part right.
Well, you didn't say it.
I was still struggling on Talise, right? Talise.
I like Talise. Let's go with Talise. Talise Fuaga.
Yes.
Who is the 14th pick in the draft out of Oregon State.
So they've got a rookie starting at,
who, by the way, is making the same conversion that our left tackle is, who played right tackle in college. Fuaga played right tackle at Oregon State.
And then their right tackle, Trevor Penning, is in his 3rd year. And reading about him, there was not a lot of people happy with his previous 2 years.
A lot of fans and media wanted him replaced.
Was he a first?
He was first round pick, 19th,
right?
19th overall 2 years in 2022 out of Northern Iowa.
And then their left guard, I can do this one. Lucas Patrick has a toe injury. And
good job.
He did not
Way
practice
to go,
yesterday. So their offensive line, which was under fire before this first game, got a couple of injuries they got to deal
And you
with.
can say the center's name, too. You got that one down.
Eric McCoy.
And you got the right guard.
Cesar Ruiz.
There you go. All right. That sets the tone there. And by the way, Nate in Frisco likes this offensive line for the Saints.
Oh, he does.
That's not good.
Talking with him this morning.
That ain't good.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of Mick Shots. By the way, Everson, you're not here tomorrow, right?
Not here
tomorrow. So you need to make your picks by the end of this show, okay?
Why can't I just send them in tomorrow?
Oh, you want to let him cook a little?
Yeah.
All right.
Come on,
okay.
man.
You can have another day to study.
This is a tough game, man.
Okay.
This is a tough game to diagnose.
So we will not tease that ahead for today's show. It'll be for tomorrow's show, but we'll come up with something to talk about next when Mick Shots continues in a moment.
Hey Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/cowboys to get started.
Miller Lite is brewed with great taste and only great taste.
The Miller Brewing Company would like to issue a correction. Miller Lite is brewed to be less filling. What are you doing here?
Miller Lite tastes great.
Look, I'm just reading the script. It says less filling.
That's not what my script says.
Well, mine says...
We'd like to apologize for the previous announcers. Miller Lite is in fact less filling and tastes great. Time to shine, legal guy.
Celebrate responsibly. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Beer. 96 calories and 3.2 grams carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pregame sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Back to Mick Shots.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/fan of the year. Go Cowboys.
I just mentioned to Everson maybe Grambling can get in the Pac-12.
Get some money.
Pac-12 is expanding. They were down to 2, Oregon State and Washington State.
The Pac-2.
And they've
the
added
two-pack.
they've
the
added
2-pack.
Yeah. Well, now they're a 6-pack. Now they're a 6-pack.
The 2-pack. Hey, the 2-pack.
So you have Oregon State, Washington State. They've added Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State, and Colorado State. So how about Grambling State?
Man, let's take it.
So
let's do it.
Those
we'll get some more money for that.
Teams were in a conference. Was that
They're in the Mountain West.
Mountain West Conference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's your opportunity for some money there for Grambling State
I love
University.
going out to the West Coast.
There you go. All right. Make it happen.
That's right.
All right, Mickey, what's on your legal pad there?
Well, the Saints had to kind of change up their practice schedule.
Yeah, there was a little hurricane that came through there.
Or a big one. New Orleans ended up with, in some places, 8 inches of rain with 78-mile-an-hour winds. So what the Saints did yesterday is they moved the practice up an hour and let the players get away a little bit early so they could get home. And the coaching staff had a slumber party at the facility. They kept the coaches there overnight. And So they would, in case anything happened, they would be there in the morning to have practice today. So
I don't blame them. That's
like
exactly how I do it. You know, everything's catered for them. You know, just
right?
Find a couch and sleep.
It sounded like a lot of power went out.
I was wondering if they'd move out of there to get some work in this week.
Well, they've got a generator at their facility in Metairie, so they were able to, carry on. But yeah, there was a lot of power out, and the big thing there is the flooding, and there was I read where in some streets in central New Orleans, the water was up to people's doorsteps.
Oh, yeah. It happens. That's not the first time. It happened earlier this year as well.
Yeah. So anyway, they've had to kind of change things around. It didn't sound like there was a lot of damage, though. Maybe trees and power lines.
A lot of wind and power lines.
Yeah. But
no power at all.
I would think that they should be able to fly here safely on Saturday. So that's one thing that's kind of on my list here.
And by the way, for those of you coming in for the game, it's going to be a beautiful summer weekend.
100 degrees
here in North Texas. So wear your shorts.
I was just saying, man, I'm so glad that hot weather's gone.
And the roof
said that too.
The roof will be closed
for sure.
It's supposed to be 98 to 100 degrees. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I need to shut up
back
sometimes.
to summer temps here.
Sometimes you just need to be quiet.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what strikes you about this okay, you make your point.
We were talking about the 180 yards rushing.
Uh-huh.
Well, some of that rushing ended up being Taysom Hill, 5 carries for 35 yards. That's 7 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm. And they're running him at tailback.
And let's remember where he started. It was with the Packers with Mike McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about it when we had the walk-off on he liked him as a quarterback.
Yeah, I heard that this morning.
And he said they thought, he said, I wasn't sure, but he kind of put, we thought he can make it to the practice squad. And he goes, he came into my office and we told him, we're going to release you, but we're put you on the practice squad. And he goes, I think before he made the elevator that Sean Payton called and said, we're claiming you.
Yeah. I heard that.
That was 2017. He's now 34 years old, so he was a 27-year-old rookie.
It's amazing.
That's
right, yeah.
And, of course, he had gone to BYU, and so he had a Mormon mission mixed in there, too.
Gotcha.
So,
but they're using him as a tight end. They're using him all over the place. So
and they're not using him at quarterback.
No, but Mike he said, I was convinced he could play quarterback.
He sure did.
Yeah. And but they've kind of jack of all trades now. And
so how would that have changed? Let's see, if Aaron Rodgers there and if Taysom Hill had stayed there
and was good,
how could it have played out?
Jordan,
I never thought he was that good.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to replace
I never
Aaron
thought he
Rodgers.
could make it as a quarterback even.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he'd be nice backup.
A nice backup, right?
They would have figured out how to use him. Mm-hmm. They would have used him just like the Saints are using him as a H-back.
He's put together very well.
Mm-hmm. Very athletic.
Well.
4.4 speed.
Yep.
Too. So that's an interesting little story there. That was
2017.
And he's still going strong at age 34. So what is it
Mike has been in places where he's had to make decisions on quarterbacks because, by the way, in 2005, when he was the offensive coordinator in San Francisco, they drafted Alex Smith instead of Aaron Rodgers. And then
it worked out for him.
And then he inherited Aaron Rodgers.
That was good.
Wonder if Rodgers ever held that against him. Because he ended up being, he didn't get drafted.
He's like the 25th pick.
I was going to say in the 20s, right? Yeah. And Alex Smith was
first. He was the first number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. Really?
A little bit different money there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Especially back then.
I think he made up for it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what about this Saints team concerns you the most?
Interior. Both offense and defense.
Defense, right?
Mm-hmm. Both. I love the way they run the ball. Kamara, still good. You know, we've almost forgotten about this guy. He's been injured a lot the last couple of years. At one point, he was probably the most talented running back in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, that's just how good he was. So he's still able to make plays.
Coming off a season, 12 starts last year, 694 yards, 3.9 yards a carry, and 5 touchdowns. But he had 75 catches. You got to be concerned about him catching the ball out of the backfield.
He's still that guy. What do they call it? The knife set. What do they call that? You have all the knives.
Swiss Army
knife. That to me, Kamara is close to that. Taysom Hill and he are both two very all-around talented players that can do so many things for your offense. Not just one thing. They make the team itself is so diverse offensively. You might have Kamara running the ball. You might have him catching the ball. You might have Taysom Hill under center at times. You might have him playing tight end. So this is a team that they know exactly what they can do, and their diversity within their offense is something that's been shown all since last year.
And with their new offensive coordinator, Kubiak, is it Clint? Clint.
Yep. And Clint's brother Klein is an area scout for the Cowboys.
Right. And they're running kind of that 49ers, you know, he's from the Shanahan
West Coast
offense. West Coast offense. And as we know, over these last several years, that offense has given the Cowboys trouble. Not just the scheme. I know they got talent, but it's the way they run the football and make a priority of running the football.
My first time going up against the West Coast offense was San Francisco. And 1981, they blew us out. First game against San Francisco, of course, we ended up in the championship.
Regular season, yeah. They were like 49-17 or some crap.
There wasn't one catch in that game. There were several catches.
There was a bunch of damn catches. There was a whole bunch of them. I mean, it was ridiculous. I remember Dennis Thurman, I think he blocked a punt or something, and Tom Landry said, that's probably the only play we made all year long, all game long.
In that first game.
That West Coast offense, I had never gone up against it as a pro. And just the timing of it all. You know, everything was about, you know, timing and things of that nature, to where defensively you had to be prepared, you know, for a lot of quick recognition. And I had none of that in that first game.
So Mike was talking about their running game in the press conference, and he kept talking about how they attacked the C gap, which is further outside or in between the tackle.
The C gap is in between the guard
and tackle.
Right? Yeah. And he was talking about how it's difficult because you only have so many guys to plug so many gaps, and they try to stretch you out where some gap's going to be open, and that you got to be able to
cut back like Kamara, you can hit that hole.
And then
there's a play action that comes off of that,
right? Because they can throw the ball. It's like a long handoff to him, right? He caught 5 passes, but it was only 27 yards. But still, what they're trying to do is get him in space. And boy, is he tough in space.
He is. He still is. I remember his workouts being legendary. He would practice running on one leg, you know, to complete his balance. I mean, he was just ahead of his time in that regard. Hadn't heard much from him at all, you know, the last, 3 years.
It's been like 16 games since he's had a 100-yard game, something like that.
But he's been injured. He's been dealing with injuries the last couple of years.
And then they've got a deep threat in Rashid Shaheed, who is, we talked about him earlier in the week. He's about as fast as Tyreek. He's also their kick returner and punt returner.
We need to start talking more about Worthy as opposed to Tyreek. I mean, he ran the fastest 40.
That's right. Yeah. And, okay, so he's not near as fast as Worthy, but he's almost as fast as Tyreek. He's out of Weber State and was undrafted a couple of years ago and has made it in this league. And Chris Olave, the first-round draft pick wide receiver from that same rookie class is their elite receiver with 87 catches last year.
Weber State, Mike Zimmer's first
there you go.
full-time college job after Missouri. Mm-hmm. Joined Dave Campo there.
Wow.
Got to know each other.
All right, so Cowboys versus Saints. What do you think the record is the last 30 years since 1994? Who holds the advantage? Cowboys versus Saints. There have been 14 meetings.
Since 94.
Since 94, there have been 14 meetings. What's the record? Who's won the most?
I guess it's almost even.
I know with me, it's even.
What do we got?
10 wins for the Saints, 4 wins for the Cowboys.
Oh, wow.
The last 30 years.
Why'd you stop at 94? Why didn't you go to 91?
Because the Cowboys owned them before 94. Prior to 94, going from 1967 until 94, the Saints only beat the Cowboys 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 8, 13, 14.
That's up to 94.
Up to 94. The Cowboys were 14-3 against the Saints. Since 94, the Saints are 10-4 against the Cowboys. But the last time these two teams met was in New Orleans, a Cowboys win, 27-17, 3 years ago. It was a Thursday night game in New Orleans.
Well, we represented in the 80s. That's all I know. We represented.
You did.
The Cowboys beat them in 91.
Yes, they did.
Last game I covered for the Dallas Times-Herald.
December 8th, 1991. That's when it came out
before you got fired.
They called at 10 o'clock in the press it was 9:30. I was there early. It was a noon start, and the phone rings, and I think it was Dave Pelletier, the Cowboys' assistant PR director, says, "Hey, Mick, your sports editor wants to talk to you." And I'm going, "The hell is he calling me at this time of the morning?" Right in the press box, and he goes, "Hate to tell you this, but this is our last issue.
You can tell.
We've been bought out." And then you know what he tells me? Save me the trouble. Please tell everybody when they show up what's taken place.
Tell everybody.
You're the one.
Oh, so Frank Luxa, who'd been working there for
Hall of Fame voter.
For 30 years?
Yeah.
I got to tell him he doesn't have a job after today.
I wouldn't tell anybody jack. If I just got fired, I'm not telling anybody a damn thing. I'm going home.
You're with me.
I'm out. Yeah, come on.
No, you know what the funny joke was? If you need another good story to put in your resume, you better do it tonight.
Go out on good terms.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so that's the backstory to how Mick Shots was born.
Yeah, a real backstory.
You can tell you're not a black man, bro.
Why is that?
Because when we get calls, we know. If I get a call like, "Oh, okay, here it is."
I figured this ain't normal.
And you'd be out the door.
Out the door. Mm-hmm. Make me do some work for you on the way out the door. Give me a break.
Felt obligated to my readers.
Yeah.
And then you were on the Cowboys charter
the next day or next week to Philadelphia. Was the Philadelphia the next game?
Mm-hmm.
That's when they clinched the playoff berth.
Jerry,
and that was the beginning of you.
But that Jerry felt sorry for you because you just lost your job, right?
So
he's been feeling sorry for him for 34 years now. He's kept him.
That's why I don't trust Spags, man. Spags, he's a snitch. Spags a snitch.
Yeah, right.
All right, we wrap up Mick Shots in just a moment.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pregame sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Hey Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, Crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/Cowboys to get started.
Miller Lite is brewed with great taste and only great taste.
The Miller Brewing Company would like to issue a correction. Miller Lite is brewed to be less filling. What are you doing here?
Miller Lite tastes great.
Look, I'm just reading the script. It says less filling.
That's not what my script says.
Well, mine said.
We'd like to apologize for the previous announcers. Miller Lite is in fact less filling and tastes great. Time to shine, legal guy.
Celebrate responsibly. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Beer. 96 cows and 3.2 grams carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer cows and carbs than premium regular beer.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Back to Mick Shots.
The Texas A&M Aggies and Arkansas Razorbacks return to AT&T Stadium on September 28th in the Southwest Classic. Don't miss your chance to catch this highly anticipated annual matchup. Tickets are on sale now at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing partner of AT&T Stadium.
That kicks off a great series of games, college football games in the area with that game. And then you got Grambling and Prairie View at the Cotton Bowl with the great State Fair of Texas. And
Texas OU.
Yep. So it's a wonderful time of the year.
It really is.
Yep.
It really is.
All right, last few minutes of Mick Shots here. I may have to bail early on you because a segment of the Mike McCarthy show awaits me.
Well,
did you hear the press
close
conference?
on time, we're good.
I did not.
The beginning of the press conference?
No.
He just realized that David Moore was on the Mike McCarthy show.
What?
He said something to David like, "Yeah, I don't know if I approve that." And David goes, "Well, I've been doing it for 5 years."
No, he's known.
5 years.
He knows.
He knows.
It's a running joke.
Yeah.
It's like
it was pretty funny.
Like Matt Damon being invited on Jimmy Kimmel. Is that the one?
Yes.
I'd like to apologize for not getting Matt Damon.
Let me tell you what happened last week, and I told him at the end of the first segment every week, I say, and that's we're just getting started on the Mike McCarthy show, and up next, it's David Moore, the Dallas Morning News. Well, the first show of the year last week, I'm taping it on Thursday, and I said, and hey, do you hear who just got his contract renewed? And he had this startled look on his face, and I said, David Moore, the Dallas Morning News, is going to be up in just a second. So he went to the break, and then McCarthy said, I thought you legitimately had breaking news that the quarterback had.
You got to stop messing with. Hey,
no, Coach, that's like Sunday morning.
Yeah, that'll be Sunday morning. Yeah. That's what tipped me off that, okay, I think something could be happening here. So
he had inside trader information when he asked us, do you think it'll happen before the season opener?
That's right. That's right. I said all along, though, that it was going to happen before the season opener because it didn't make any sense for if they're that close to an agreement. To me, it made no sense to
but that was
prolong it,
or
take a risk of injury.
It wasn't planned that way, right? Because they didn't come to agreement until 10 a.m.
I was going to say
that stuff is
that's
deadline
kind of dramatic.
Driven. Yeah,
I don't think they expected it to be that dramatic, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, it cost him more money in the salary cap because he had to play that first game on his.
Right.
Well, we also knew
salary.
things were pretty close to happening when everyone went radio silent.
Yeah.
You know.
And when Jerry says no comment.
That's right. That's when something's about to happen.
That's breaking news.
That's right.
Jerry's not talking.
All right, so Everson, do you have some final comments you'd like to make? Because you're not going to be with us tomorrow. However, you will be making your picks.
I will be making my picks.
Texting us your picks.
I will text them in tomorrow. I will not be listening to your show.
Thanks.
Why is that?
I have work to do.
You got work to do.
I will be working with Roland Parrish, who's one of the more prominent African American businessmen in the area. Friend of my foundation, Ethos Education Group. Really cool dude. And actually, if you look him up, he was a damn good track star.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days, we'll have to look him up on the show.
Is he senior? Senior? Roland Parrish senior?
I don't know about the senior.
Well, he's got a son that's...
Yeah. Okay. About how old is he?
Oh, Roland Parrish?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's like our way. He's like 50-something, 60-something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's
young.
He's a grown man.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you guys are older than me. Sorry.
All right. Very good.
Did we talk about Demarcus Lawrence? I did it on the radio.
No. What's wrong with Demarcus?
No, I was just going to say on Mondays they hand out the game ball.
Yes.
And he got it.
Nice.
Mike mentioned.
Yeah. So what happened with that? Because the word came out that that McCarthy wasn't going to give out game balls because we expect to win games, and then we find out that Demarcus got a game ball.
They don't do it right after the game.
All right.
He does it on the next morning, and so when everybody was talking about, this guy, and it's like, well, don't forget about Demarcus
Whenever
Lawrence.
our defense plays well, Demarcus Lawrence has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Whether he got tackles or not, the numbers don't always bear out.
He forces
how well
other things,
he plays
right?
for this defense.
Sets the edge.
Yes, he does.
Backside tackles.
They won't be coming outside. That's one thing.
Yeah.
They won't be coming out. Our problem has always been in the middle. And when it comes to Demarcus Lawrence, if he could, he would do something about it. But they always keep him outside the defensive end.
Mike finished it with he had a hell of a game, and
he did.
If we look at
he's had a hell of a career. Jeez.
If we look at the stats, 5 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for losses, and 4 quarterback hits, and a forced fumble.
Wow.
Right? Everybody, gets gaga eyes over Parsons.
Goo goo eyes.
Goo goo. I said gaga.
God, I don't know what they
Lady Gaga.
I'm being summoned.
You are.
I am.
Well, it's time.
Come on, let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay. So some of us will be here tomorrow at high noon for a Fabulous Football Friday edition of Mick Shots.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?